Hi everyone, and welcome back to MovieTube. I'm Jade, and I'm here with Jordan.
Hello.
And the two of us are going to be discussing our reaction and the quick thoughts from the the fourth episode of Halo the series. And we're super excited to discuss with you all. So please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And do be warned, there will of course be spoilers. We're talking about the episode, but we're going to be discussing each and every week. So make sure that you do stay tuned in. Alrighty, how shall we start off?
Which one of it do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Pardon?
I'll go first.
Go for it.
I think this episode was probably my favorite so far.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Like, there was definitely parts where I wasn't as interested, but that's like a separate story plot that I wasn't as interested in. But the main story plot with Halsey and Chief, I found very engaging, and I found it really entertaining, and just this heartfelt other side of the Halo lore, and I really liked it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm a bit in the middle. I didn't really like episode 1 or 2 a lot. One, like, I was okay with it. 2, I thought kind of went downhill for me. I enjoyed 3 a lot more, and I'm not as high on 4, but I think I would agree with you. It probably had the best scene of the series so far, with the relationship developing between John and Halsey, which I'm just going to call him John because he acts like a John more than a Chief at times.
More than a Chief. That's so true.
Which is okay. They're developing this character to be different from the video games to an extent, and I've accepted that. But I thought that, going back to was it Iridium?
Yeah, Iridium.
Iridium 2.
Yeah.
And going back to that planet. And the scenes of him recreating his childhood home, and seeing that, regardless of like lore accuracies or whatnot, I'm not 100% sure. As I said, maybe this stuff is in the books. I thought that it was generally the best shot stuff in the show. The music was really well done, and I thought it had a really good amount of like melancholy, but like genuine tension building between the relationship with John and Halsey that I think actually is becoming quite interesting. And I can see the sort of driving force of why they're doing certain character changes or things with these characters and pushing those plots forward. And some things are actually developing that I find genuinely interesting, which is cool. And same with we're finally getting some development with Cal, the Spartan. She's removed her inhibitor chip. I was a bit confused with some of the scenes there, though. Like, the other Spartan walked in on her and was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "You can see there's a cut in her."
Yeah, there's a big wound in her tailbone.
Can you not see it? But also she was
standing behind her.
They just love cheeks in this show. They keep showing everybody's cheeks.
Well, at the end of this, we're going to see the entire Silver Team's cheeks. Guaranteed.
We need to get that. Finally, get the master meet. But,
oh my god.
But
it was very like odd, that one shot, but otherwise there were some beautiful shots in this episode as well, like very pretty and melancholy, like you said.
Yeah, like the stuff on Iridium was easy to stand out, but I think I'm a bit more mixed on it because I think that it's not terrible or anything, that the sort of Quan storyline, it's Quan, I believe, yes. It's just I don't really know what it has to do with the main plot or like how it's really linking, and I'm just more invested in what's happening with John and the relationship with Halsey and the relationship with developing Silver Team, because I'm still not really into Silver Team, but I am excited to see them further develop it to the point where I do think that those characters can become more interesting throughout the series. And them interacting with Miranda is a good way to do it. And
good start,
and slowly seeing Cortana work with Chief and hearing that voice really helps as well.
I agree. I really am enjoying seeing their relationship like begin, where he is trusting Cortana and he is saying, Cortana, show me this, and she's saying, here's the limitations of what I can do, but I can provide this. And he's like, go ahead. Like, it's really starting the relationship that we have come to know and love between Chief and Cortana.
Yeah, and wedging like the relationship barrier of like the further eroding relationship that will probably happen between him and Halsey only opens up more of a interesting dynamic between Cortana and Chief, and maybe having trust issues, but also wanting someone to rely on. She both reminds him of safety in Halsey because of the similarities.
Yeah.
But I think it's an interesting dynamic, and I think that it maybe was, we'll have to see in the long run, but maybe a pretty smart decision to focus on those three core people between Cortana, Halsey, and Chief, and make that the kind of core pillars of the relationships we're focusing on. But
I do agree.
But yeah, it's a slow burn so far. Episode 3 and 4 have been less action orientated or really not much at all on Chief's side anyway. And I'm okay with that. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I'm still not particularly loving the show, but I'm in for the ride. And I think I can safely say now that even if it wasn't Halo, I would want to see where things develop.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I think makes me like this episode the most, is that I am now invested regardless of the source material origin. So it's like I can actually see myself sitting down and tuning in for this, even if it wasn't to do with Halo, which obviously we very much love. And so that's what I guess made me feel so excited about this episode.
Yeah, it's like before it was like, cool, we got a snippet of like, we got the like Golo worms and a snippet of the Hunter leg, and I was like, look, I'll be in for that stuff, like give me that stuff. And I think over time it's like, like obviously it's nice to hear that the grunts when they cower in fear, and as they give it to me, like I want to hear them do that. Like I'm excited to see those moments.
To see them.
And obviously hearing about the Halo ring, and then referencing those things is cool. There is still enough there with the relationship between John, Halsey, and what they're building with Cortana. And although I'm not like still enthralled by it, and I don't think it's particularly fantastic yet, I would be interested to see where those characters went, regardless of, as we said, like if it was Halo or not. And I think that that's at least saying something right now. And I know there's a lot of hate out there for it, but I honestly think right now I can safely say it's a good show. Like you have to get past some barriers, and some things can be clunky. Some of the writing still is pretty rough at times. Like I don't know if you remember a line. I watched it fresh this morning, but we're talking about, I think it was Miranda asked why is John, we're trying to find out why John's so special, and then one of the Spartans, I don't know, so he's like, because he's the Master Chief. Like,
you're like, cool, good line, good job.
They give that man the worst lines.
The worst lines, poor dude. I mean, the entire of Silver Team so far have had pretty like hollow dialogue, but he gets the worst end of the stick.
Cal is slowly kind of getting a little bit more development. Like we'll see if it can land, but right now it's still a little flat. But Halsey's really a good choice for Halsey, in my opinion.
Honestly, like I've found that in the scenes where obviously the focus is on John having these kind of memories, like even more than what Cortana can provide, the look of concern and distrust on her face is very palpable. Like I think she's a great actress. She's really like I know exactly what she's thinking without her having to. She didn't say a line while she was just observing what John was doing, but knowing like, how am I going to gaslight him into him perceiving that that's just his muddled memories and not actually accurate. Yeah,
and I also like what you said there, like with the gaslight, and that's definitely an aspect to the relationship for sure. But I like that they seem like they are trying to find that fine line between, like, I really hope that they stay in that way of like keeping it morally grey but never black and white, and not making her just a cut and out like gaslighting evil, because realistically, as you said, she is interested in the development of humans, and we see her motivation. It's very similar to what we've seen in some of the other extensive media of Halo, and I hope that they continue to build that relationship in a morally grey area where you're not shading her too much with a lot of negative. And I think that so far they've done a good job of making me like I feel conflicted about her character, and I think that's where I want to stay with her. I think that's where Halsey works best.
Yes.
And I think
when she's not pure evil, she's not pure good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that they've done a good job so far, and I hope that and I'm sure they will. Like that makes sense in Halo, right? Like Halsey's always there,
Always, yeah. No, I definitely think they are going to continue that, because it's definitely my favorite thing about it, where she's still like the whole kind of point of her is that she prides herself on being such a cutthroat scientist and putting science first, but clearly she has a maternal love for John, whether she likes it or not. Like she can't even control her bias towards John. She loves him. She thinks he deserves special treatment, and she has to fight this cold side of her to, try be warmer to him than she would anyone else. And I like that conflict within herself.
Yeah. And it's always hard to shade in a character like that, right? But I think so far they've done a pretty interesting job that I don't dislike her, I don't like her, and I like being in that realm. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a good episode. Another good episode.
Yeah. But I thought there was special moments, pop moments, especially when I really liked when Master Chief knelt down to look at young John, who's like, "Can I see?" And then young John looked back at him, and it was just this ethereal moment. It very much represented whether this was a memory or kind of skewed. I liked it. But yeah,
it was very well choreographed. And the entire scene was the best scene that this series has had.
Agreed.
So far, for sure. Like the way that he was walking and it was imagining what his memories were, and then the way that it was just claustrophobically shot with inside the helmet. It was actually a good use of inside the helmet instead of like awkward first-person stuff. I thought it was all well done.
Yeah, including the part where you could see what Cortana was showing him versus what was actually the background. And I thought that looked a lot better than some other like CG moments within the helmet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically our thoughts, and I really hope you all enjoyed. Please comment down below what you thought, what your favorite moment or episode has been so far, and we will of course see you next week for another one. So please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and we shall see you then. Say bye, Jordan.
Bye.
Bye.